And after a brief pause for the cause, we're back on the air doing our QSO-VLOG today with a shootout against some of my YAGI antennas and the CUSH Craft boomer antenna, which is an older antenna, but one of their better antennas. It's a 19-foot, 19-element, 22-foot YAGI. And we had some problems. I had to fabricate the first 5 directors for some reason. Then somebody had decided to make them much shorter than what they should have been, and so short that they weren't even in actual usage for the band that it was that we're working on. So I did have to fabricate the first 5 elements and restore it to factory condition. So on the other end, we still have LOU-N9GTO, which will be he will be assisting us in our shootout today. And Lou, I think we'll start with our normal southeast antenna. So stand by just a moment. All right, and Lou has made provisions to drop about 30 dB from his normal signal strength. We're about 3 miles apart, 2.5, 3 miles. And Lou, right now I'm on my normal southeast antenna. And what signal strength do you have?
Give me a dead signal, please.
That doesn't work too well for a QSO-VLOG. Go ahead.
No, just insane. That's 7 bars. When you modulate, you're modulating the signals. The radio's going forward. So 7 bars, carrier.
Alrighty, 7 bars on the normal southeast, and then we're going to our stack 7s. Stand by. And here are our stack 7s, and we will lightly modulate there so you can get a good signal strength. Okay.
That is 7 bars.
7 bars also. I'm showing a hotter signal strength on my receive on my stacks versus my single. Let me come back and transmit there for about 10 seconds.
November 9, Golf Tango Oscar. And out.
Yeah, I'm showing about 2 lights hotter on my stacks than on my single. But anyway, next we're going to go to a GP9 and see where that goes. Stand by. All right, and now we're on the GP9. And what signal strength do you have on the GP9?
I have an S1 and a lot of noise, 50% noise with an S1 unit, one S1 unit.
Alrighty, and he's getting his 30 dB attenuation by going on the horizontal side, so that could have something to do with the GP9 signal strength. Anyway, we're going to move now to the boomer and compare that with all the other signals. So stand by. And now we're on the boomer. We are on the boomer now, and I'll let Lou have a slow, little less audio so he can check the field strength readings, S meter reading. Okay.
7 S units. 7 S units again on the 29 YAGI'S 2900 FTM 2900 YAGI'S, and that's the readings you're getting from this. And you are on a YAGI'S as well, correct?
Roger, roger. On the 2900 now, passing its 2 millionth mile mark and deteriorating as we speak. But it's still a good radio. I just can't get to menu anymore. Anyway, it looks like the boomer is equal to my 8-foot 7-element YAGI'S.
Okay, and what is the height of the YAGI'S versus the boomers?
There's not over a 3-foot vertical height difference between them, so it's ballpark. Roger, roger.
Okay, so and the 7-foot YAGI'S are stacked, and they're fed with your homogenized system, versus this has a 50 ohm feed line to it, and it's a factory antenna OEM, correct?
Roger, roger. Yes, this is a non-anomaly antenna situation on the boomer. It's It's factory as far as all the specs, and it's 50 ohm transmission line from the antenna all the way to the selector. Unlike most of my other stuff is RG6U, and it's kind of like if there are anomalies as far as SWR, I tune them out as I go. So they are all about 1.2 at 146.5. Now, I have one other thought. Perhaps if you went to vertical, I'm just curious about what that GP9 would do on the vertical side versus everything else.
Okay. One last food for thought is the antenna that you have, the 22-foot boomer. One modification that I'd like to see done is first have you bring it back down, and let's put a full wave loop-driven element and a full wave looped reflector element on the back by adding 2 pieces of fiberglass rods back there. And simply just tie them on there with some wire ties adjacent to the boom, and run the 5% greater than the driven element on there. Leave the vertical elements out there in front, and we'll put it back up for another vlog, and we'll do a full wave loop quaggy as they call it, versus that particular feed system. And we may absolutely change things. So, and that's what I'll be bringing to the farm one day on our shootout to Pilot Mountain N9GTO.
Roger that. All right, so now you're going to go on the vertical side, and maybe do you have the capability of shortening your radiator?
Stand by, please.
And we are standing by. This is KC9VKV on 146.520. We're doing an antenna shootout against all of my YAGI'S up against the CUSH 22-foot 19-element boomer, which is 16.2 dB gain, DVD I think it is gain, 16.2. So my YAGI'S are so far in a dead run, right with that right with the boomers for signal strength.
Okay, the antenna now is positioned vertically compared to horizontal, and I was running a tram dual band, I think it's 7 or 8 foot tall tram dual band base antenna laying in the hallway of the home horizontally to give you the separation that you needed. Now I'm vertically in the hallway as well, and tied to about 40 foot of LMR 300 or 400, LMR 400 to the radio. And GTO, back to you, Joe.
Roger. Okay, I've gone to the GP9 now. We are transmitting on the GP9. What signal strength do you have? I will lighten up on the modulation so you can get a good reading. All right.
7 bars.
Okay, and that was the one that was in difficulty. So now I'll go to the Cushcraft boomer. Standby. All right, we're on the Cushcraft boomer, and I'll lighten the audio so you can get a reading. Okay.
9 bars.
Well, at least the interrelationship between the two is a little bit closer. The boomer's doing 9 now, and let's see, yeah, 9, and the GP9 is doing 7 bars. Roger.
That's correct.
All right, now I'm going to go to my normal southeast antenna YAGI and see what that does. All right, now we're on the normal southeast YAGI, and I'll lighten the audio up there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What reading do you have?
Getting 5 bars with some noise going to 7. As you talk, it goes to 7, but I got some noise on 5 bars, and you're 50% in there.
All right, and stand by. I'm going to go to the stack 7s. They're pointed your way. Okay, stand by just a moment. All right.
Worse, it got even worse.
On the stack 7s now, what signal do you have? I'll back off so you can get it, and there you go.
I cannot hear you, Jimmy.
All right. Stand by. Give me a signal there, and let me see if I can max smoke this one.
Nothing but white noise, Jimmy.
All right. Give me a little signal strength, and I'll see if I can tune the stack 7s a little bit better to your vertical.
Okay. This is November 9 Golf Tango Oscar testing with KC9VKV. And out.
All right. I had to tune just a little bit differently for your vertical. We're still on the stack 7s. What signal strength now? We'll back off the audio just a little bit. And all right.
You're 7 bars and you've got 20% white noise in the background.
Right. So essentially now, at least after tuning, retargeting on the stacks, I'm a 7. I'm not going to worry about the noise level. I'm just going to go by the signal strength. So we're 7 on the stacks, and we're 7 on the normal southeast, and we're 9 on the boomer, and we're 7 on the GP9. Roger.
That is correct.
So right now, hang on, let me go to the boomer. All right, we're on the boomer now, and back off the audio so you can check it one more time. This is a KC9VKV. All right.
Just confirm, you are the last digit below the 0. The last digit below the 0 before you get to the VFO. There's a missing digit. You're that far over.
So that's pretty high up on the where are you now? You're on the 2900, right?
Yes, the last digit before you, it's number 10. You're on number 9 right here.
Right. I think 9 and 10 go together. I think there are 2 lamps. The top thing goes 2 lamps, I think, when it goes there.
No, hold on. Stan, can you increase your power just for 1 second?
Roger, I'm on second stage, up from the bottom.
You are right. You are right. Change that 9 to a 10 full scale.
All right, let me go back to low. All right, I'm back to the lowest scale now.
You're still full scale all the way over.
All right, and back now to the, I'm going to the GP9. On the GP9 now, and you got a 7?
That is correct.
Yeah, you probably don't have anything on my north antenna.
I cannot hear you, Jimmy. White noise.
All right, this is the stack 7s, and you have 7? You have 7 on the stack 7s?
Yes, sir. 7s on the stack 7s. Roger.
Roger, roger. Okay, going to the single 7 southeast. Single 7 southeast, 7.
I have 5. I have 5 on that one. And Jimmy, remember, the antennas are so close to each other, they're interacting with each other. So as you turn one, the other one lights up the other. Over.
No, not in this situation. Only my south antenna is contingent. Have anything to do with the boomer, and that's after the reflected radiators, so it's not relating at all to it.
Okay, all right. There you go, Jimmy. I can barely hear you.
I'm actually showing you hot on the south antenna. Do you copy this antenna?
Yes, I got 7 bars on that one.
Okay, all right. Well, let me go back to the boomer. All right, and back to the boomer, and we're peg out.
Oh, it's yes, peg out major.
All right, all right. Well, that's good, man. It you know, it's taken me 4 years to find something hotter than my my YAGI'S, but it took 19 elements and 22-foot antenna to do it.
Well, again, we're not comparing apples to oranges. they're totally two different beasts by any means. So it would be unfair to you can't bring a max wedge to a Vega race unless the Vega's got a full-blown Hemi.
Roger, but I have noticed something now. I do have down the road about 240 miles or so. I do have a little bit hotter signal on the boomer, but overall it's noisier than my 7-element 8-foot YAGI'S. Particularly, I'm using my stacks, and they are quieter. As as you're listening to a signal and you AB it to the boomer is giving me a light hotter, but the noise level is hotter than the stack 7s.
Well, Jimmy, that's why I said we're going to change that driven. We're going to take the driven and the reflector off. We're going to add spreaders on there, and we're going to make it and we're going to feed it from the side. And we're going to, because if you feed it from the bottom to the top, it's be vertical, a horizontal polarization. If it's side, it's going to be vertical. So what we're going to do is we're going to modify the antenna and make it a quaggy, however you want to call it. And we're going to change the feed system on it so that it's fed with the best of the best, and it has, like it is right now, and it has that full wave driven loop at 5% greater reflector. And we'll get rid of that noise and we'll increase that boomer, make it even better.
Roger, Roger. So what you're thinking is that the end result will be somewhere around 18 dB gain?
I'm not going to speculate on numbers because liars may figure, but figures don't lie. All I want is the end result, and we're documenting this result right now for a dare to compare comparisons. And anyone watching this video, please send Jimmy an email and let us know that what you'd like to see in a dare to compare situation, radio versus radio, or antenna versus antenna, and we'll be glad to give you the input on, as well as maybe comparisons. In some cases, you may have to ship Jimmy that particular radio to do the vlog. Anyway, getting back to the antenna situation. The numbers are relevant. It's the proof's in the pudding, Jimmy. I think that'll take care of the noise issue, because the floor noise issue will definitely clean up better with the 2 voltage nodes and current nodes that the full wave quad is going to provide for us.
Are we going to wind up with a grounded transmission line? As opposed to an open or a gamma match, we're going to use a solid ground transmission line driven element?
Yes, a full wave loop, center conductor all the way around, fed at the side of the beam, and it will be on the right-hand side. If you're looking at the back of the beam, it'll be on the right-hand side, and the center conductor goes up and the ground conductor goes down, and it'll go around a full wave loop resonant to this frequency here, and the reflector will be 5% greater, longer, and it'll be a DC to ground loop, as if you was to, and it will provide us with greater floor noise is going to be much lower, and the density of the signal is going to be much higher.
Roger, because I think that's what makes that my 7-element YAGI'S so quiet, is that pin drive is grounded. It's a grounded situation. I think grounded situations are always quieter than gamma matches.
Well, and all the GP9 has a coil DC to ground as well, with a capacitor feeding a coil going to ground, acting like a capacitor as well. You basically so many microhenries to ground, microbytes, microhenry, however it is, and then you've got a capacitor coming off the center lead, tapping that coil to give its impedance match, and it is providing some form of a DC to ground. So there's some little bit of a lightning protection. And with your antenna, the way you built it, what they would normally do is they'd run that loop. They'd have a half wave folded down each other. It'd be basically a half wave folded dipole where you have a half wave and a half wave making a full wave loop with the radius bends on each end and coming there and tying together. And we can also test that out as well. You notice a lot of the television antennas, the digital television antennas, has those trombones, those loops, and they are DC to ground antenna, and they work well as that. But I'm very, I'd like to see the end results. Maybe next week I get together and I'll bring the stuff over. I have the enamel coated wire and some other stuff that I bring over, and the fiberglass rods that are an 1/8 inch thick that we just slide right in there and strap it to the boom with some wire ties. Adjust everything out to the high Q of the SWR, and make sure everything's just right there, and do another test. And 9GTO at KC9VKV.
Roger. Yeah, and on my normal YAGI'S, I'm using a half wave, half folded dipole driven element. And it's usually tuned 1-to-1 at 146.5 or thereabouts. No SWR. So and they're high Q, high gain. So all right, I think we're about done here. What do you think?
Yes, and it's very similar to a J-pole. Basically, a J-pole, instead of a 300 ohm loop, you're using a half wave with a quarter wave fold, and then you're using the coax. The center conductor is going to the quarter wave. The ground is going to the center of the half wave. Is that correct, Joey?
No, it's a half wave, half folded dipole.
Well, it's a half wave, meaning that it's a half wavelength, and then it's got a quarter wavelength of a J on one side. It's not, you basically got a quarter wave on one side, like a trombone, and you've got your coax in there, correct?
Roger, it's about 1.25 inches spacing between the two elements as it goes out towards the tip on one side. So it's a half wave, half folded dipole.
Okay, half wave, and then half folded dipole, because you're folding half of it back. That's correct. And very identical to the J-pole. It's very identical to the J-pole. If you had a single J-pole up, that's what it looked like for that particular situation. Very similar to it. But it's very effective, and the DC to ground is what really helps improve the signal to noise ratio.
Yeah, Roger, that's what I think. And I'm using galvanized steel for the whole antenna elements, which we have built that identical antenna out of copper, and AB'd a totally copper antenna, YAGI, the same thing, and then against the steel antenna, and not a dime's worth of difference in signal strength. So there lies the old myth that it has to be made out of aluminum or copper. In the third world countries, they use coat hangers.
Actually, coat hangers are awesome. I remember making many TV antennas out of coat hangers and scanner antennas. So it's a very affordable thing in my use. I would take it in a heartbeat. Anything, as opposed to cutting off the lamp cords of all the lamps in the house and Mom and Dad coming home and lighting me up with the razor strap.
Roger, you can't even find metal coat hangers anymore. They're all plastic. Alrighty, let's jump out of here. Lou, I'll catch you later. Thanks for the assist in our antenna shootout. This is Kilo Charlie 9, Victor, Kilo Victor.
This is November 9, Golf Tango Oscar.